Peace, peace, peace. Welcome back to the Universal Temple for the Sun, Planet, Moon, and Stars. I'll be your Lord of Hosts, Lord Messiah. And today we go into the science of, this is episode 8 of A Picture's Worth a Million Words. And today we're going to go into the science of, the pyramid. You know what I'm saying? It's still knowledge understanding. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we know and understand that the pyramid is basically representing the science of graduation. You know what I mean? Because we know that these pyramids were not just fancy looking monuments, they were actual temples, actual schools, actual universities. They had uh, secret mystic systems, what they called, or what you would say today, a secret societies of secret knowledge in these temples. You know what I'm saying? These pyramids that only certain people could learn. You had to be initiated into these sacred rituals or sacred schools and so forth. You know, you had to have certain rites of passage and all of that good stuff. You know what I mean? Um, you know, you see this picture right here of the brother Malcolm El Haj Malik El Shabazz, formerly known as Malcolm X. When he made his pilgrimage, he got his holy name or his righteous title, you know what I mean, of El Haj Malik El Shabazz. You know what I mean? He had the name El in his name. And we know that El is one of those 5 family names, those 5 tribes, you know what I'm saying? El, you know what I'm saying? Bay, Al, Ali, Bay, Day, um, what's the other one? 5. Al, Ali, El, Bay and Day. Yeah, Al Ali, El Bay and Day. You know what I'm saying? So those are like the 5 family names or the 5 civilized tribes. You know what I'm saying? And Malcolm had one of those names. When you're dealing with the science of the Nation of Islam, you notice that you see pictures of Elijah Muhammad with the fez. You see pictures of Cassius Clay, who afterwards was bestowed with the Moorish title, because it actually was a Moorish title, of Muhammad Ali. You know what I'm saying? He gave him Ali. And you seen in the Godfather Harlem where they were showing when Elijah was in there and he was because Malcolm brought Cassius Clay to the nation and gave him his ex. And then Elijah tried to basically, cuff, Cassius Clay and, put him under his wing and kind of took Malcolm's student. You know what I'm saying? As a lie, as they always do in different nations. You know what I'm saying? People try to take your student and shit. You bring a student and you build him with the brother, then all of a sudden his brother try to come and try to teach them and magnetize your student. Now all of a sudden, yeah, God, I'm gonna give you lessons, I'm gonna teach you this. I'm gonna say, like, wow, really? Like that's how it goes. But anyway, so it was kind of like that. And Malcolm was bringing Cassius Clay to the nation and try to get his way back into the Nation of Islam. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like a gift to Elijah. But Elijah took it and he gave him his title, Ali, which basically nationalized Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali became nationalized. You know what I'm saying? Um, and understand that, like I said, you see Elijah Muhammad wearing the fez. That's because Elijah Muhammad went through the Moorish Science Temple. Understand? And Farad went through the Moorish Science Temple. You know what I'm saying? There's pictures of that as well. You've seen the book Sheepdog versus Farad. Malachi York broke down that science and all of that. You know what I'm saying? And that was a very historically documented book. You got to go and read and do the knowledge. You can't just speculate because you don't like the person that wrote it. You got to do the knowledge for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And that's real. So, however, the reason why I brought that up is because only certain members of the Nation of Islam nationalized or got their nationality, which means they became like elites within the Nation of Islam. Because even till this day, the majority of the members of the Nation of Islam, they have an X in their name. Brother this, Jonathan 37X, Brother Henry 27X, Brother Jamal 15X, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And all these different X's, and everybody got an X. So Didn't Elijah Muhammad teach in the message of the black man that a good name is better than gold? So why didn't he give them all their holy names? He telling them they gotta make their pilgrimage to Mecca to get their holy name. Elijah Muhammad didn't even go to Mecca. So how did you get your holy name? Just a question. I'm just asking. But anyway, so because he got nationalized through the Moorish Science Temple, that's how he got his holy name. He ain't have to go all the way to Mecca. He nationalized right here. You know what I'm saying? Through the Moorish Science Temple. Do the knowledge on that. And that's why you see him with the fez on. And he also went through other schools and all that. But that fez you see him with the moon and star, that's not a Masonic fez. That's a Moorish fez. You know what I'm saying? And then he went on to start his own nation, the Nation of Islam. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, but not everybody in the nation was nationalized or truly have a nationality. Although they say the Nation of Islam, what really is their nationality? You know what I'm saying? Like, is their nationality Islam? Because Islam is supposed to be their religion. So, and you know what I mean? Like, so now, I mean, but you can call your nation whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't like denounce that you are a nation. But what I'm trying to say is that like that could be confusing. You know what I'm saying? And you know, you always have to rightly divide things. So what I'm trying to say is that if they out there selling bean pies and final calls and all that money they got to give back to the mosque and all that, how are they ever gonna get enough money to save up to make a trip to go to Mecca and get their holy name? That's probably not gonna happen. So therefore, you still have all these people there with no holy name, and then holy name is better than gold. And if you get your holy names and change from your unknown name, you know, as they used to say, you know, like even Malcolm taught, you know, the slave name, you know, we place the X with the name until we get back to our righteous names and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, we get back to our country. So we ain't necessarily got to go back to Africa to get a holy name. You know what I'm saying? If we nationalize right here and declare our nationality right here, so, you know, so even Malcolm X was giving us a sense of nationality. You know what I'm saying? Because he was teaching us that we were Afro-American. You know what I'm saying? So he was giving us a sense of nationality. The Afro is referring to Africa and also referring to our hair, our Afro, our hair. Our hair is a physical feature which is known in a society to identify a specific group of people. Like you see a person with an Afro, you be like, oh, that's a black man, that's a black person with Afro. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's an Afro-American, more so that's an Afro-American, because we know these terms, black, Negro, colored, are not nationalities. Even Jesse Jackson tried to give us a sense of nationality by saying African American. But if you say African American, you got to be more specific, because Africa is just one big continent. And see, when we understand nationality, like even when you look on what's called the SF-181 form, and people will be like trying to deny it, like, oh, that don't apply, that don't mean I don't care about no fucking oneness. It don't matter whether you care about it or not. This is how these people have things categorized, and this is how they categorize in your ass. So unless you understand that and you start to categorize yourself the way you want to or the way you should, then you're going to keep on falling into the trap of misclassifying yourself. And when you misclassify yourself, you make yourself non-descendable as a people, because you're classifying yourself under titles that are only social terminologies, but have no effect in the political or legal arena. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, like for example, something will happen to you, right? And then you'll get up in the court and they're mistreating you and they doing this and they doing that and da-da-da. And you'll say something like, yo, man, y'all doing this because I'm black. Now, technically, you're right. But on another sense, you're, in their eyes, they like, okay, well, what sense of black do you mean? Do you mean black as far as your complexion? Because, you know, of course they're going to try to deny that. Like, no, what do you mean? That's not, no. But once you say you're black, that term black in their eyes means civil liter mortuus, meaning dead in the eyes of the law, meaning that you just put yourself in a status that they don't have to recognize, that they can't recognize, because black is not a so-called nation. It's, you know, we say things like the black nation, but unless we come together and put that shit in writing, like, yo, we are the black nation, you know what I'm saying? And like declare that shit, like you have to declare your nationality. That's just a fact, man. I don't care how people want to, you can't get around that. you have to declare your nationality. If not, then you're still an unknown people. And if you're unknown people, that means you've abandoned your identity, you've abandoned your nationality, you have no nationality. That means that you're a subject people, and you could be captured by another people and treated in a subject fashion. Hence, we've been so-called taken as slaves from Africa, right, and brought to this country, right? Then we were enslaved in this, and we was always here before that. So, you know what I mean? Just, you know, so you know that. We all know that. But however, they did bring a large group of people from the continent of Africa over here to this country and start what was called a transatlantic slave trade. You know what I'm saying? That is a fact. You know what I mean? But before the transatlantic slave trade or the European slave trade, there was the Arab slave trade. So we got to realize that too. The Arabs enslaved us like 1,000 years before the European or the so-called white man started to enslave us. And you know what I mean? But the white man, he just took the shit to a whole nother level. The Arabs was brutal too. But the white man, he was just demonic. He didn't only like enslave a people or subject them to indentured servitude. He dehumanized people. You see what I'm saying? He stripped the people of their humanity, of their dignity, of their identity, of their, you know what I mean? Because like in like different places in Africa, Asia, and stuff like that, like in other countries, like when people were like when they had wars, because they did have wars, they had territorial wars, people had wars, and whoever conquered, basically the other people was their subject, like just like in a fight, like, you know what I'm saying, you win in a fight, like you make the other person like, nigga, what, nigga, yeah, nigga, you ain't gonna be talking that shit no more, nigga, next time I see you, nigga, you better like you telling that person what to do, or you running him because you conquered that person, you know what I mean? So it's the same thing in a tribal war. Whoever conquers the other tribe or whatever, they're gonna have them people be subject. But it wasn't in a inhumane fashion. Like, okay, we're gonna make sure like y'all gonna have to pick these grapes, or y'all gonna have to do this, or do these chores, or do these whatever. Y'all gonna subject to do that, labor and stuff like that. But we're not gonna strip you of your identity. We're not gonna say you can't pray to your God or you can't acknowledge your deities. We're not gonna say that you can't have your ceremonies and do what you do and not be with your family. We're not gonna separate you from your family and steal your kids and sell your kids off and, you know, do all this evil and inhumane type of stuff. They still let them have their own like sense of humanity, but you knew the rules, like you subject, and you got to perform certain labors and this, that, and it. It is what it was, what it was. But they wasn't treating people inhumane like that. So that was like the difference between, like, you know, when we had indentured servitude, and then when the white people came with slavery and all of that, that shit was a whole nother shit. That shit was like traumatizing, and, you know, all the treacherous things that they did. You know what I mean? So, you know, we could go into that, for, you know, you already know that history. You know what I mean? But I emphasize it because like that shit ain't no light walk in the park, and that ain't no something that you could just forget about. How they be trying to talk about, oh, come on, man, you know, forget about. Like, nah, I'm not saying that we shouldn't forget about it. And I'm not saying that we should dwell on it either, but we do need to know and understand exactly, you know, what is taking place. Because once you know what happened, then you know what you got to do. But if you never knew what happened, then you never know what you got to do. So that's where they want to keep us in the dark. So anyway, let me get into the science of this picture right here, this brother Malcolm X. You see right here, right, the pyramids. I said we're going to build on the pyramids. How long have we been in here? All right, 13 minutes. All right, cool. So you see the pyramids, right? As you see, he's putting his finger up to his eye. Like you see the eye at the top of the pyramid. And you see the way I drew these lines around here to show you the shape of the pyramid that's being formed right there. You know what I'm saying? And then above the pyramid, he's pointing to the eye. You know what I mean? And then on the ring, you see on his ring, you know, in the Nation of Islam, they got the ring. On their ring, they got the moon and the star. And the red in the background is supposed to be the sun. You know what I'm saying? So the sun, moon, and star on their ring, right? And then also you see the pyramid around his nose, because if you look on our and do the knowledge, right? Who was it? Napoleon, was it? Napoleon blew the nose off the Sphinx. You know what I'm saying? You know, with his short man complex having ass, he blew the nose off the Egyptian Sphinx, or better known as Harm Akhet. You know what I'm saying? And he blew the nose off of it because he couldn't stand the, you know, I mean, one, he was trying to destroy it in general, but also because he couldn't stand to see that it had a feature of such a broad nose. They knew it was an African nose. It was an Africoid feature. You know what I'm saying? It was an Africoid phenotype. You know what I mean? That they didn't want the world to acknowledge, that they knew that this pyramid was built by melanated people, because it ain't have no little slope nose, like no little, shimmy shimmy down the slope nose. You know what I'm saying? Like, it had a big old broad, big nostril afro black people nose. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Melanated nose. Like, you know what I mean? You know how we got noses, like, you know what I mean? Facts. And the truth, the reality, because the reason why we got broader noses and more tropical or heat in climatic areas, because our nose is broader, so we can absorb more of the oxygen. And Europe, when when they went up in the caves and whatnot, they nose grew like skinnier and longer, and like their nostrils became smaller, because for them to um, breathe in less of the oxygen, because in that cold regionous area is mad windy, mad, you know what I'm saying, cold. So if you're breathing in so much air, that shit can basically freeze your brain, you know what I'm saying? So they over years developed that anthropological evolution within themselves. And also with the hair, you know what I'm saying, their hair grew longer to cover their neck, because in the wintertime it gets cold, so that's why people, if you ain't got long hair, you wear a scarf over your neck to cover your neck. Your neck is very important, because it's in the spine, and also it's right where your spine is connected into your brain, what's called the central nervous system. You know what I mean? So you have to, that you want to keep covered up and keep warm. And that central nervous system, what I'm saying, right there on your nerves. So you want to keep that warm, because if you get cold in that area, and that cold travels through the body, you get sick. You know what I mean? That's why, when you was little, your mother be like, boy, put that hat on, boy, put your scarf on, and you know what I'm saying, get warm before you go outside, because mama know better. You know what I'm saying? She know, like, you go out there, boy, you're gonna get sick. You better bundle up, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, and yeah, and on your head, your head is, you want your head to be cold, you know what I'm saying? The head is the center, the brain, you know what I'm saying? That's the sun right there. You gotta keep the sun hot, you gotta keep the sun warm, you know what I'm saying? Now, as you can see, you see the pyramid on his nose, and then right above the pyramid, you see I drew a symbol of the sun, and that sun is representing the pineal gland, you know what I mean, in the center of the brain. Now we know the pineal gland secretes a hormone known as melatonin, and it secretes all throughout our hair, skin, and eyes. And when the sun shines on our skin, hair, and eyes, it converts that melatonin into melanin, which gives us our dark complexion. You know what I mean? That's why I say my race is not black. My race is melanic. I define my race as being melanic. We the people for Lord Messiah Allah El Nation are a melanic race of people. And we do not define ourselves by, Negro, colored, African American, or so-called black. We use the more scientific term of melanic. Melanic, and melanic meaning referring to or pertaining to the melanin, melan, Greek word meaning black. You know what I'm saying? So we can take it back through the etymology and know that what we're talking about, but we're breaking it down scientifically. And the reason why I say that, because now we got to understand you have different dictionaries, right? Different dictionaries for different fields of language. So, for example, you have medical dictionaries for medical language. You have scientific dictionaries for scientific language. You have legal dictionaries for legal language. You have even the Bible has a glossary of religious terms, you know what I'm saying, where they define their religious terms. So everything has different definitions, or field of definitions. So you have to know how to rightly divide things, and especially when it comes to language. So like I said before, when you say in the courtroom, you're doing this because I'm black, to them, to you might think like, oh, because you have dark skin, you're melanin, and you know how they be hating on us because we so majestic and we so original, and how we shine and do what we do, you know what I'm saying? And because of there's just been many years of racism and prejudice against dark skinned people in this country, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, you'd be like, yo, you doing this because I'm black. But to them, they say, okay, well, now you just put yourself in a classification that now, yeah, we can do this because you called yourself black. You know what I'm saying? That's the way they seeing it. They flip it around on you. You be like, you doing this because I'm black. Oh, really? You are black? Oh, really? That's what you are? Okay, cool. So now actually we can do this because we don't have to respect you. Like the brother broke down, King pointed out, King Abel pointed out in the Dred Scott case. I just said, the white man has no the black man has no laws that the white man is bound to respect. You know what I mean? Or something like that, like paraphrasing it basically, like, you know what I'm saying? But basically saying like, you're a so-called black man. Black has no real status. Oh, let me go back to that. And due to that, they don't have to respect you, basically. And respect means to do again. Spec means to look. So respect means to take another look. Being that you're considered civil liter mortuus, that means dead in the eyes of the law. They don't even have to look at you, nor when you try to speak up for yourself, they don't have to respect you. They don't have to take another look at what you're saying. They don't have to listen to anything you're saying because you've placed yourself in a status that is now dead in their eyes. See what I'm saying? So that's why it becomes a hindrance when we use the term black, because we don't understand that we're not defining it properly, nor are we putting it in a proper context. So now, like, if you want to go into court and say, hey, you're doing this because I have a high content of melanin in my skin and you lack that melanin, and therefore you have an obvious natural jealousy against me, and this is a racial issue. You know what I mean? I feel that you are more so psychologically and biologically inclined to lean toward these type of behaviors and have these type of prejudice toward me because of your nature and because of my nature. This is a natural fact, Your Honor. These are science. You want me to give some science to back it up? You know what I'm saying? That I not just sound scientific enough for your ass? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to break it down like that, then they might be like, well, okay. Well, since you put it like that. But when you get in there talking all that angry black man stuff, oh, see, man, y'all doing this because I'm black. Nah, man, see, y'all racist, man. Y'all racist white people. See, y'all do this, man. Nah, man. Now they got the angry black man to come out of you, and that's what they wanted. You know what I'm saying? Now, because of your anger and you not being able to articulate yourself properly, you put yourself in that category, and now that works against you. You know what I'm saying? So that's the trap about it all. You know what I'm saying? Of course, they're going to deny you. They're going to overlook what you're saying. And then you're going to feel disrespected and feel discriminated against. And naturally, yeah, it is because I'm so-called black. You know what I mean? But now, this is another thing. Like I was saying about the SF-181 form, right? On all the other thing, when it says Asian, it says having origins in any of the original peoples of, Cambodia, Japan, China, all these different places in Asia, right? Pacific Islanders having origins in any of the original peoples of Samoa, all these different Guam, all these different places, right? Even when it comes to whites, they say having origins in any of the original peoples of Middle East, North Africa, and in Europe. So partially this is why some Moors say that they define themselves as white when referring to North Africa, because in North Africa is where Morocco is, and also you have the ancient Berbers, the people who are known as the ancient Berbers. That's a historic lineage that they trace themselves back to. So that's why they refer themselves as that. And now people are like, oh, well, what are you talking about? You're not black, you white, you know what I'm saying? And and they thinking, see, we only thinking in racial terms because we can't think beyond race and understand nationality. Because remember, all of these other things as having origins in any of the original peoples. Hold on, I thought black people was original peoples. You know what I'm saying? I thought the black man was the original man, right? It says, you know what I'm saying, black people, the original people, right? But according to their documentation, they say black or African American. It says having origins in any of the black racial groups of Africa. They don't say having origins in any of the original peoples of Africa. They say having origins in any of the racial black groups. So they subject you to not a nationality or having origins in a group of people, but having a racial identification, having origins in any of the racial black groups of Africa. And I always say, what the heck is a racial black group? You know what I'm saying? Because technically it's like, I'll say, okay, so any of the racial black groups, any. So is that to say I could just hop off a boat or hop off a plane anywhere in Africa and say, hey, the white man in America says that I have origins in any of the racial black groups of Africa. So hey, I like you guys over here. I choose y'all. Y'all gotta accept me because the white man says I have origins in you and y'all racial black group and he says any. So I choose y'all because I can't pick all. I mean, hey, any. Hey, y'all. So they're gonna be looking at you like, nigga, who the hell is you, man? You better go back over to that white man and tell him, you know what I'm saying, like, the fuck out of here with that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? They ain't gotta respect that shit, and they're not gonna respect that. They're gonna be like, who the hell is you? You lost, who are you? They're gonna be like, who's your people? You gotta trace yourself back to a tribe, to a bloodline, to a heritage, to a lineage. You know what I'm saying? A people, a nation. You know what I mean? And since black people have been cut off from our roots, cut off, stripped of our knowledge of self, stripped of our culture, our history, our heritage, our language, we don't even know how to speak the language of those people over there. So we would never be able to reconnect ourselves back there. So since not saying that just so because they done that, they just forget about going back to Africa. I'm not saying that. But we do need to also realize that we do have roots right here in this country too. And before this slave trade thing even took place, so-called black people was already over here. You know what I'm saying? And we was just as black as we is today. And some of us might have had that straight so-called Indian hair. Some of us might have had more pointier noses, but still a black phenotype because we have all the phenotypes in our genetics. You know what I'm saying? We are the original people. So we have all these, like one day I was in the mall, his brother was saying about my brother, he has like green eyes, and he was saying like, yo, that's from the mixture of that. I said, no, not necessarily, because we got all of that in us before we even brought them about. Because think about it, if blue is like the most so-called grafted or whatever, blue eyes is the most grafted, then if anything before that would be more original than that. So we produce all of that, and we can produce the blue eyes. You got so-called black, you got black people with blue eyes, so-called black people with blue eyes, dark-skinned people with blue eyes on this planet. Yes, that's a fact. And blonde hair, that's a fact. You know what I'm saying? So that goes to show, and that's not because of no mixture or nothing like that. It's because we have those genes in us, and we produced all the genes on the planet. So now, when we talk about the so-called Caucasian white man, if he was a specific grafted being that came into existence through a process of selective breeding, or what we would call grafting, you know what I'm saying, so forth, separating and then grafting, actually, because it was 200 years of separating the black from the brown. Think about that degree too, y'all. We say 600 years of grafting. 200 years of separating the black from the brown from the black, and then 400 more years of grafting from the brown to the white. You know what I'm saying? 200 years from the brown to the yellow, and another 200 years from the yellow to the white. And then the 200 years of separation will be equal 600 years altogether. But it wasn't 600 years of grafting. It was 200 years of separation, separating the brown from the black by killing the black babies and saving the brown babies. And then grafting from the brown to the yellow to the white. Technically, you know what I mean? Go back in your degree and see what I'm talking about. Understand the cipher degree. Tell us what and how the devil's made. You know what I'm saying? So now you see these pyramids. Now, boom, Malachi York dropped a powerful jewel, right? He's breaking it down about the pyramid, right? You see the pyramid on your nose. Your nose is your pyramid, right? And right above your pyramid, and look at what it's shaped like. It's shaped like a pyramid, right? And right above your pyramid, you have that black dot, which is a pineal gland. You know, when you breathe in, right? You breathe in that carbon, right? I'm sparse off. You breathe in the oxygen, right? And then it gets converted into carbon dioxide, right? When you exhale, right? So what's the same science of a fire? When a fire burns, a fire needs what to burn? It needs oxygen, right? And then when it's burning, the what's given off, the emission that's given off is known as carbon. So if we breathe in oxygen and that oxygen is converted into a carbon, is there a fire inside of us that's making that happen? I think it is. I think it's known as the solar plexus. aka the fire chakra. You know what I'm saying? The third chakra, that's the fire chakra. I could break down all these chakras. I could break down the root chakra, which is earth. I could break down the water chakra, dealing with the spleen and the macrophages and all of that. You know what I'm saying? I could break down the solar plexus, dealing with the digestive system and the adrenaline gland. I could break down the heart chakra, dealing with the respiratory system or the respiratory system, the recycling of the breath. All of that, you know what I'm saying? The thyroid gland with the throat chakra, you know what I'm saying? The larynx, the voice box, uh, you know, the pineal chakra or the light chakra dealing with the pineal gland, and then the pituitary gland dealing with the crown chakra. And the pituitary gland secretes. Now we know that the pineal gland secretes melatonin, but peep this though, because we're dealing with the endocrine system. Endo meaning within, and crine or crine meaning to secrete. So the endocrine system is a system of inner secretions of hormones from the glands that are in tune with certain organs in the body. You know what I'm saying? And in tune with the chakras as well. The chakras are like stars in your body. You know what, to prove how women have chakras in their you know, like when they go through menopause, right? See, because a woman, she's in tune with the estrogen and the like when she goes through what's called menopause, right? Menopause, or however you pronounce it, right? She starts to lose the estrogen, and due to the loss of estrogen, this is like kind of like in a car where you got the engine going, but then the engine is losing its fluid, its fluid, and then when the oil or whatever burns out, the engine starts to steam and gets hot, and it's like overheating and stuff like that. Your car starts to shut down, right? So the same thing with the woman. It's like when she goes through menopause, the reason why that is because the root chakra is down there burning, you know what I'm saying? But now the estrogen that used to secrete at a higher rate when she was younger, it's now depleting. And now but the chakra is still burning. So now the heat from the chakra, where does it go? It got to go somewhere because it's not being burned off, or it's not being used to burn off the estrogen. You know what I mean? So now the heat has to go through her body, and now she gets what's called hot flashes. See what I'm saying? Facts. Okay, let's go into this. No, it not, because I got to save that for a whole nother slide, and I'll be going a whole nother hour onto this. I was supposed to just go into the science of the pyramids, and we're already a half hour in this. All right, so but it's true. So now look at this, right? Also, see, he got glasses on, right? So actually, he got 5 eyes. You know what I'm saying? He got the pineal gland up here, the 2 physical eyes, and the 2 glasses, magnifying his 2 physical eyes. You know what I'm saying? And Malcolm is famous for them shades, boy. Malcolm had them shades, boy. Malcolm was one of the sharpest. Malcolm was sharp, boy. You know what I'm saying? Word is bond. But anyway, so and you see that, and you see so I was saying about the pituitary gland in the endocrine system. Now, we know that the pineal gland secretes melatonin, but what about the pituitary gland? Did you know the pituitary gland secretes what's called an Emmanuel hormone? It's called the Emmanuel hormone. And we know that the word Emmanuel means God with us. So now, the pituitary chakra or the crown or the crown chakra is the 7th chakra. And we know 7 in our mathematics is what? God. And then the pituitary gland secretes a hormone known as the Emmanuel hormone. Emmanuel meaning God with us. So through your pituitary gland is how you astral project, or how you project your thoughts into the universe and connect with the very universe around you. Like really, it's literally called so when you make that connection, that 8th chakra above your head is known as the oversoul, because all your chakras are souls, and a soul is a sun, and a sun is a star. So that's why I said you have stars inside your body. You have literal stars in your body, and not just the 7 major chakras along the spine, 5 along the spine and 2 in the head. That 2 and the 5, how the Moors be throwing up. That's a jewel for y'all right there. If y'all ain't peeped that 2 and that 5, two glands in the head, and 5 in the body. Actually, you got You got the pituitary gland, the pineal gland, the thyroid gland, the adrenaline gland, and they got like 5 glands and 2 organs. Yeah, then you got the reproductive organs, and then you got the um, the spleen or the Leiden, which produces the macrophages that help cleanse the blood, and that's why you got to drink a lot of water. And so lack of water leads to lower back pains. You know what I'm saying? And that's located right down there by in the lower back and in the front, the abdominal area. That's the location of the sac, or what's called the sacral chakra. You know what I'm saying as well. Um, so yeah, you know what I mean? That's the science, man. And yo, shout out to, I ain't even gonna say shout out to, but acknowledgement to Minister Enki. You know what I'm saying? He drops a lot of science. And I respect a lot of the science that he drops. But one thing I do not agree is that he says, like, oh, the chakras, that ain't real, and da 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 da. Brother, I will be willing to not even debate you, teach you, enlighten you about the chakras anytime, any day. You want to set it up, we can do it, we can do it, we can do it. Holla at me, you know what I'm saying? Word is bond. Because that's and I've listened to the thing you were saying about something about like the light, and I said, hold up, but you say something that chakras ain't real. So what you talking about the light inside and all that, and I mean, but anyway, but that's a whole nother topic. So I want to get into this, right? So now we're gonna go down a little something. So the pineal gland, the eye above the pyramid, and like I said, the pituitary gland is a seventh gland, which secretes the God hormone, or the hormone known as the Emmanuel hormone, meaning God with us. You know what I'm saying? We know I broke this down, you know what I'm saying, earlier, you know what I mean, about the knowledge, understand it. You know, the master about the 12 grades. You go from first to 12th grade, you graduate, you get the capstone on your head, the graduation cap. The capstone is shaped like a square, which is the base of a pyramid. And on that square, you build your pyramid of knowledge. And as I said, you reach for the stars through higher education. And that's why when you go to 13th grade or college, you can get what's known as a master's degree. And when you have a master's degree, you're qualified to teach from first to 12th grade. You know what I'm saying? Because you became a master. And that goes all the way back to ancient Kemet, because in Kemet, you had to show and prove 12 sciences, and you would be the master, or the 13th, the one who exemplified those 12 sciences as the master himself. You know what I'm saying? And we went through this before too. Master. With Horus had 12 disciples, and he was one. 1 and 12 was 13. Jesus was one. He had 12 disciples. 1 and 12. Saying Allah was one. He had the first 9 born, Ibika, Shabu, and 4 Cypher Akbar, also known as Justice. That was 12. Also, the father Allah was known as Clarence 13X. 13 being master, X being the unknown. He mastered the unknown by solving the problem book, the 13th number. The 13th problem in the problem book, which dealt with the 10 mathematical numbers and the 26 letters, which he developed the supreme mathematics, which is 10 mathematical numbers and 26 letters, known as supreme alphabet. You know what I mean? Also I said become a master by acquiring the 12 jewels. And in this day and age, we got to get that master cipher or that money in order to acquire these 12 jewels, because everything costs nowadays. You know what I'm saying? They made money the medium in between natural resources. 13, you got the sun, which is 1, and then you got the 12 constellations. As they say, the sun goes through 12 constellations. Also, you have the sun and then the moon. The moon has 12 moon cycles, or 12 months. A month is a month, you know what I'm saying, as in the moon cycle. You know what I mean? Also, the woman's menstrual cycle is in tune with the moon. You know what I mean? You got first through 12th grade, you go to 13th grade, you graduate, you become, a master. So forth and so forth. I'm going to come back to that on another build. That right there is another deep one too, mood ring or emotional cipher. I'll break that down. KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. KFC or CFC. I broke some science down on that. That was another jewel. Django. Where we at? Oh yeah, Kanye, modern day house Nemo. I'm not even big. Okay, where we at? Thought I had some more pyramid signs I was supposed to go into on this one. All right, so if anything, this will be the end of this bill right here. You know what I'm saying? Then I'll come back with some more sciences for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Y'all already know. Y'all can probably pause that and see what y'all seen there. Oh, that's another science too. But yeah, peace. See y'all again in the Universal Temple. And we're going to come back, y'all. Peace.